Life's a vapor while it lasts. You are all I really have. Living for experiences.
Hey, let's pray. God, I want to thank you for today. I want to thank you for air conditioning. It's hot outside. God, I want to thank you for the food that I've had, the house that I've slept in, all of the blessings that you have given me. And God, when you ask us questions, let us respond. So, it's good to see you again. Again, my name is Trevor. I'm the youth pastor, and you guys can take your earplugs out. I don't have a cymbal to crash this time, don't worry. But last time I spoke, I had to be honest with you. I had to tell you that I wasn't doing very good at loving harder, digging deeper, and encouraging more. So here's my report. I've been better. And I'm not saying that because I want applause. I'm saying that because you guys have kept me accountable. I've had people all week long over the past few months have asked me, how you doing? Hey, are you encouraging more? Are you loving harder? Are you digging deeper? And because of the church, because of you guys, I can stand up here and truthfully say yes. So now I question you. Have you? Have you loved harder? Have you dug deeper? Have you encouraged more? I hope so. If you would, turn to Luke chapter 18. That's where we're going to be for most of the day. If you don't have a Bible, I'll have it on the screens. This story specifically comes from Jesus' travels, and he runs across a blind beggar. There's many times where he heals people, and there's many times where he works in people's lives. But the thing that I've realized over the last few weeks is Jesus asks a lot of questions. Jesus asks the believers, Jesus asked the disciples, Jesus asked the religious leaders, and he asked like the rich man who thinks he knows everything. He asks questions all of the time. They deserved an answer then, and they deserve an answer now. All right? So I'm going to ask you a question after we read this passage. This is from Luke chapter 18, verse 35. We're going to go basically to the end there. As Jesus approached Jericho, a blind beggar was sitting beside the road. When he asked and he heard the noise, he asked the crowd what was happening. They told him that Jesus of Nazareth was going by. So he began to shout, "Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me." "Be quiet," the people told him. But he only shouted louder, "Son of David, have mercy on me." When Jesus heard him, he stopped and he ordered that the man be brought to him. And as the man came near, Jesus asked him this question: "What do you want me to do for you?" The blind beggar responds, "Lord, I want to see." And Jesus said, "All right, you've received your sight. Your faith has healed you." Instantly, the man could see, and he followed Jesus, praising God, and all the people who saw it praised God too. That's a pretty powerful story there. Let me give you some background on what that is. Disabled people, blind people, beggars, people in that era that were underprivileged, that had issues, they had no hope. They sat on the side of the road, literally begging just to get a meal to live for the day. And as you can see, the people in that time didn't respect those people. You go back here to verse 39, and it says, "Be quiet." The blind beggar's on the side of the road. "Jesus, I've heard about this man, Son of David. Have mercy on me." "Be quiet. We don't want to hear you. Jesus is here. We need to hear him. We don't want to hear you." That was their response. People had no hope, but this blind beggar had hope. He shamelessly cried out to Jesus despite his situation, and Jesus responded with compassion. And he asks us this question, and I don't think that it's just the blind beggar Jesus is talking to. Thousands of years ago, when Jesus is there, he asks him, what does he need? I think Jesus today can ask you this question: what do you need? 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 You know, Son of David there, when the blind beggar is saying Son of David, that doesn't mean that Jesus' dad was David. We all kind of know that. It's, Joseph or God. Son of David in the Old Testament, in Isaiah chapter 11, talks about the coming of the Messiah. Son of David is the coming of the Messiah. The blind man who had no sight could see that Jesus was the Messiah. The blind man knew, and he couldn't even see. Do you? Do you know that Jesus is the Son of David? Do you know that Jesus came and died for you? For me? You know, when Jesus asked this question, what do you want me to do for you? He's not saying, what do you need? He's asking, what do you want? And the blind beggar here could have said anything. I want to be rich. I want to have power. I want to be royalty. I want a family. I want someone to love me. I want food. I need water. I want. He could have said whatever he wanted, but he asked for his sight. But truly, I think that the blind beggar saw better than anyone in that circumstance. Even though he couldn't physically see, he saw who the Messiah truly was. And his faith healed him. So I ask you, what do you need? What do you need? 3 weeks ago, maybe 4 now, we were in California, amazing beach house, like luxury. I know most of you guys were coveting that. Don't. It was great, but I mean, it was crazy. Ourselves, Tempe Nazarene, also met up with Mesa Nazarene, and we got together. There's over 30 of us all together playing on the beach, playing ultimate frisbee. We come back, and we just do sandwiches because we're cheap, and sandwiches are cheap. And so we're spreading, all the mayonnaise, getting the turkey, the cheese, getting everything together. And my good friend and great mentor, Bob Hunter, is there with us. He's leading the Mesa Nazarene crew. And he pulls me aside, and we just get talking. He's asking me how my ministry's going. He's asking how my life's doing. I respond, and then he goes like this. Jesus asked these questions that deserve a response. And I go, yeah, absolutely. I'm tracking with him. And he goes, so what do you need, Trevor? And I'm laughing because I don't realize that he's serious in this moment. And I go, well, I have $39,000 in school loans. If God could erase those or, disrupt the system for a second, that'd be great. And he doesn't laugh. I was like, oh, we're going serious for a sec, Bob. He goes, Trevor, no. Jesus asked this question, what do you want me to do for you? What do you want, Trevor? We kind of parted ways, and I realized that we weren't really joking. We were supposed to have this conversation, and I began to become very convicted about that question. What do I need Jesus to do for me? Yeah, it would be nice if my debt was erased. Yeah, it'd be nice if I drove another car or had another motorcycle. Yeah, it'd be nice if the church was just abundantly filled with resources so I could get paid more. It would be nice. All of these things that I want. But I began to become really convicted because I started to realize that God has always provided for me every time. He's always provided for me. Let me tell you a few stories, back to back. Get ready. So a few years ago, 2011, I had went to Mid-American Nazarene University. I loved it there, but it was expensive, like $28,000 a year expensive, and I don't have that. Neither do my parents. And so I had to take out loans. My parents loved me so much that they gave me money to go to school. But even through all of that, I still didn't have enough. So I had been paying forward my school debts, $200 at a time. October rolls around, and I have a debt of $1,000 that needs to be paid for the end of the semester. Let me just preface this. I am terrible with my money. Just like, I know some of us are, but I am just really bad with my money. I see something, and I go, yeah, I can buy that, and I buy it, and then I get home, and I'm like, why did I buy that? But I don't return it. So I have $1,000 in my account, and I have a $1,000 bill due that day. It was October 8th or something like that. So I'm in class stressing. Okay, I'm going to pay for it, but then I don't know how I'm going to pay for anything else for the year. I think I can make it to Christmas. Maybe if I called my dad with a good enough sob story, he'd give me some money. How's this going to go? So I get back to my dorm and open my checkbook and write out the check. And Debbie was saying, yeah, I did know what a check was. I rip the check and I start walking to the finance office and kind of shaking because this is it. This is my $1,000. I literally will have $0 left when I pay this. I get to the finance office, and nobody's there. There's a little bell. I don't ring it. I don't want to deal with this right now, so I set the check down, and I wait. 10 minutes goes by. Still no one up front. Finally, a lady notices me and goes, "Hey, sorry, I didn't see you there." I'm like, "Well, I hoped you wouldn't, so I'd have an excuse not to pay this." She gets to the computer. "What's your name?" "It's Trevor." Types it in. I was like, "I have $1,000 I have to pay. Here's the check." I hand her the check. She grabs it, and she's like, "Wait, what's your last name?" "Oh, Cherryholmes." So she types it in. "Is that 2 R's, 1 R?" "2 R's." "Okay. I'm not seeing anything. Can I see your ID?" Pull out my ID, give her my student ID. She types in the number. There's still nothing there, dude. I'm like, "What are you talking about?" So she backlogs, and she sees that Monday, that prior, someone had paid $1,000 to my school account. I don't know who. Someone paid $1,000 for me to continue to go to school. And that's a blessing beyond belief, because not everybody gets to experience that. And I know that I am blessed because of that. So a few months later, it's May, and I drove a 2004 Ford Focus. It's a lot of F's there. It was a manual. It had subwoofers in the back, because I don't know how to save my money. I just spend it on everything. I had $252 in my account that day, and I had to drive 1,400 miles. It was like 1,436 or something like that, from Olathe, Kansas, all the way to Tucson. So load up in the car. All right. Full tank of gas, here we go. Start my drive. I get down to Oklahoma, I fill up. I drive all the way to Albuquerque, I fill up, and I stay the night there. Then I drive down into Phoenix. Let me tell you, I've only had energy drinks and sunflower seeds up to this point. I'm 22, it doesn't matter. I meet up with a friend here in Phoenix, my buddy Curtis. He took me out to dinner that day. It was actually like 3 o'clock, so late dinner, early dinner. I get my meal, pigged out. It was great. And then I drove home. I pull into the driveway with less than a quarter tank left, and I still have $52 left in my account. That's crazy, let me tell you, because gas was like $3.30 back then in the cheap spots. And so God had provided for me to get there. I believe that was God. It was by no means of myself. I'm terrible with money, mind you. I didn't know how to spend. I probably ended up buying 6 Red Bulls on the way, because just drive. I was insane. Not that I'm not now. Here's another one. A year and a half ago, nearly 2 years ago, I'm sitting working for Oro Valley Church of the Nazarene. I love it. I'm really comfortable. I'm in my own. I'm at home, not paying rent. I'm barely paying any bills at that. I'm making decent money. And craziness kind of happened in my life. A lot of sorrow, a lot of pain, a lot of uncertainty. I wasn't sure what I was supposed to do, and I didn't even know if my calling was still to be in ministry. And I get a call from a friend, from a great guy. He calls me, he says, "Hey, we have a position here at Tempe Nazarene, and we'd love for you to fill it. Would you like to interview?" I'm sitting there, kind of distraught, kind of in pain, not knowing if I should say yes, especially since I don't want to make this an emotional decision. This needs to be logical for me, because I'm terrible with money, and if I don't get paid enough to live on my own, oh man, I don't know what I would do. So I prayed about it, and I ended up accepting and went through the interview process. And because of that moment, I'm here now, preaching for you today. God has provided. Well, let's be honest, I'm terrible with money, okay? I'm just going to make sure you know that. I'm terrible with money. I'm not poor by any means. I don't struggle every day. I'm just bad with my money. So 2 times this year, I ran out of money. One, I lived in a way too expensive apartment for what I should have. I got here, I saw my first paycheck, and I was like, I can live wherever I want. It's so much money. And so I live in an apartment that was way too expensive for what I should have lived in. And there was 2 times. The reason I ran out of money is because I play hockey all the time. Let's be honest. It's not because of, I'm struggling here or there. It's because I spend my money on stupid things. But I ran out of money. I had a week left and no food. Okay, I had 2 cans of food, some old tortillas, and peanut butter. Perfect. Family in this church took me out to dinner, hanging out, talking. They say, "We need to buy you groceries," and you can't say no. I didn't tell them about my situation. I didn't tell them that I was out of food. I didn't tell them I was out of money, but they told me that God has impressed it on their heart that they need to buy me groceries. Again, it's because I'm terrible with money, not because I'm not taken care of. I don't want you guys to get the wrong impression here. It's my fault. But God still provides when it's my fault. God still takes care of me when it's my fault. This happened twice this last year. And the second time, same scenario, ran out of money because I spent it on hockey and the stupid expensive apartment. Another family brings me a box of food. We know you need it. Here you go, take it. You don't need to give us anything back. Just keep loving on us and our kids. My mistakes were still taken care of by God's grace. He used his people to take care of me. And so when Bob asked me that question, when Jesus asked me this question, let's put it on the screen. What do you want me to do for you? I read that again. Trevor, what do you want me to do for you? It's not money, guys. It's not more food. It's not more things. I was so convicted on the California trip that I actually had to really dive in and figure out what I needed. We're sitting there, and Bob starts preaching on this exact same thing. I literally am just copy-pasting from him. That's what you do in ministry sometimes. And he's preaching on this, and my conviction gets to a point where I'm searching through the Bible, just looking for an answer. What do I need? What do I need? And I stumble across this verse that we all know, that we all love, Psalms 23. You want to put that on the screen? This is from the New Living Translation. I want to do this one first. The Lord is my shepherd. I have all that I need. We can just end it there, right? The Lord is my shepherd. I have all that I need. But that verse continues and does some crazy stuff because it says that he lets me rest in green meadows. He leads me beside peaceful streams. He renews my strength and guides me along the right paths, bringing honor to his name. Even when I walk through the darkest valley, I will not be afraid, for you are close beside me. Your rod and your staff, they protect me and comfort me. You prepare a feast for me in the presence of my enemies. You honor me by anointing my head with oil. My cup overflows with blessings. Surely your goodness and your unfailing love will pursue me all of the days of my life, and I will live in the house of the Lord forever. That's a good promise. What do you need? Psalms 23. That's what I need. And it was answered. When I opened that Bible and I read that very first verse, the Lord is my shepherd, I don't need a thing. He's already got me. He always takes care of me, and I know my situation is unique because there are people in this room that are going through even worse things than I have been through and are struggling and are going through a lot, and they look and they say, where is God? Where is he? Because I keep asking and he's not answering because I know my situation's unique. But let me tell you, 2, 3, 5 years from now, when you look back to this moment in your life, you will see how God has moved, and you will see how God has used you in your situation. It may not look pretty right now, and it may not look pretty 5 years from now, but you will see how God uses you in that situation. At the California trip, we feasted that evening. And so this verse brings new life to me because we had steaks and chicken and pulled pork and hot dogs. And we had potatoes and we had corn and we had vegetables bought from Agritopia. Wonderful place, love that. We had dessert and we had drinks and we had water and we had a roof over our head. And so when we pigged out all 36 of us from Tempe and Mesa and then read this verse that you prepared a feast for me, it brought a whole new light because we just experienced that. Some of you will go home and feast later or go out to a restaurant and feast. Think about this verse when you're doing that the Lord protects you enough to eat while your enemies surround you. Okay, we're going to step it up a notch, and we're going to read the Message. I know, just bear with me. But man, this paraphrase of this entire section blew my mind. God, my shepherd, I don't need a thing. Again, that first verse explains everything. I don't need a thing. You have bedded me down in lush meadows. You find me quiet pools to drink from. True to your word, you let me catch my breath, and you send me in the right direction. Even when the way goes through Death Valley, not California, literal Death Valley, I am not afraid when you walk by my side. Your trusty shepherd's crook makes me feel secure. You serve me a 6-course dinner right in front of my enemies. Love that paraphrase, because I eat a 1-course meal daily. I've eaten a 3-course meal once, and it took me like an hour. So let's just assume 6 means 2 hours. God protects you enough to eat a 6-course meal in front of your enemies. I believe that. You revive my drooping head. My cup brims with blessings. Your beauty and your love chase after me every day of my life. And I love this part. I'm back home in the house of God for the rest of my life. I love that translation, that paraphrase there, because it doesn't just say, we're going back home, that, I get to dwell in the house of the Lord. No, it's saying that it's already yours. It's a paraphrase, but it's saying that it is your home to go back to. The door is unlocked. You just have to go there. You just have to make the decision. You just have to walk through the door. God's home is your home. It's my home. Are you willing to walk through that door? So I go back to Jesus' question. Trevor, what do you want me to do for you? Jesus, I don't need a thing because you've already promised it all in Psalms 23. I don't need a thing. I don't need a thing. Worship team, if you come up. We're gonna close with this song. And I want to provide an opportunity for you to answer that question. If Jesus were to kick me off the stage right now because I'm not worthy, and he were to stand here and preach this message and then turn around and ask you this question, let's just pretend for a second I'm acting. What do you need me to do for you? If Jesus were to be standing in my place and look at you deep in the heart and say, what do you need me to do for you? What's your answer? Some of us may need financial support. Some of us may need someone here in the church to buy us a meal or groceries. Some of us here may need a loving, compassionate hand. Some of us here may just need a hug to know that they're worth it. That when they're here, that they're a part of the family. That this place is safe regardless of where you come from and where you're going. That when you come with sin, so are the rest of the people here. Let me tell you, there's not a perfect person in this room. Unless Jesus was standing on this stage, there's not a perfect person here. And so when he asks you, because this isn't towards just the blind beggar, he straight up says it. What do you need me to do for you, church? Do you need more love? Do you need more compassion? Do you need financial support? Do you need your groceries bought? Do you need a ride somewhere? What do you need? Because I'm going to use the church to answer that question. God will use us if we're willing. We can keep saying, oh, Jesus is going to take care of me here, and you just wait and twiddle your thumbs. Jesus could. He could provide a miracle and just totally revamp your life, provide everything that you need. But guess what? We're the church. We're supposed to be the hands and the feet of Jesus Christ. And if we're not willing to first stand up and take care of the people in this room and outside these doors, then why are you a Christian? Why are you here?
Amen.
I get so frustrated sometimes, guys, because I'm in this endless cycle of saying that I'm great, saying that I'm a Christian, and then I never do it when I walk out the doors. And I know that I'm not the only person here like that. This is a church of believers in Christ, and that means that we need to be his hands and feet. When he asks you, what do you need me to do? He means, what do you need to do? How do you need to impact this world? What do you need to do to become Christ? To love like Christ. And so these altars are open. I'm available. We have pastors around. We have lay people around that are going to be here if you need an answer, if you need some help. And God will provide. I have no doubt about it. So come. The altars are open. What do you need?